Okay, welcome back to Bounce Around Charleston, Center for Heirs Property Preservation. And my guest today knows all about that, Dr. Jenny Stevens. She's the CEO. Center's Heirs for Property Preservation protects heirs property and promotes the sustainable use of land to provide increased economic benefit to historically undeserved landowners. And she's going to clarify all this for us today here on Bounce Around Charleston. Welcome, Doctor. How are you today?
I'm well. Thank you, Reverend Miller, for having me here.
Okay, Centers for Heirs Property Preservation. Exactly what do you all do?
So for heirs property is land that has been passed down without a will. So the family owns it jointly. So if you want to think about it, it's like owning shares in a corporation. So whatever one member does can upset the ownership status for the other members. And it also makes it difficult to own and manage this land because, you know, it's not easy working with your family, and it's about families making decisions about what should be done with land.
As a pastor, I have seen some difficult days.
I'm sure you
with
have.
families dealing with property.
Right.
Why is that?
Well, if we think back as descendants of freed individuals, owning property, at one time we were considered property, but here it is, our family were able to acquire this land and use it. And really what was told to us is that they always wanted an opportunity for people to come back home. But we also know land just doesn't have sentimental value. It's, besides it being green, there's green attached to it, and especially in the low country where there is a lot of land that's located near the marsh, which people want. So people see the dollar sign sometimes and not understand the value in owning land and being able to pass down that asset to their heirs. So that, you know, for example, we've all heard about student loans. And so wouldn't it be nice, rather than your child getting a loan to go to school, that they might be able to sell some, your family might be able to sell some timber and then pay that cost. And therefore your child can graduate without a loan. And so it is about understanding not that it's not just an asset, but it's an asset that you can build on for the future generation to benefit from.
But I also know that families also need to understand you just can't sell land, especially if it's heirs property.
You can sell, and I want to, you know, let people know that I'm not an attorney, so I'm just providing you with a layperson's perspective, but you can sell your share in your land. So the person who buys your share become the newest member in the family. But it still makes it difficult to sell the land in total when you don't have clear marketable title.
So there are proper procedures.
There are proper procedures, and at the center we have a team of lawyers or attorneys who could assist people with resolving their heirs property issues. And one of the main ways that heirs property comes about is because somebody did die without a will. And so our team is able to draft wills for individuals or probate the estate of their loved one so that heirs property won't come about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's also talk about how the importance of the efforts to keep land financially viable through forestry.
So in 2013, the Center for Heirs Property, we received a grant to use sustainable forestry as a tool for African American landowners to not only just hold on to their property, but to be able to generate income from it. And so we, with a partnership of the South Carolina Forestry Commission, the USDA Natural Resource Conservation Service, among others, work with our team of foresters on staff, and we are providing the education, both the technical assistance, and connecting our landowners to individuals who can help them sell their knowledgeable professionals who can help them sell their timber. People may not know it, but the industry of forestry is a $21 billion industry in the state of South Carolina.
Wow.
So literally, low-income folk are sitting on what could be the solution to help them move out of poverty. But if they don't understand what they own and how to maximize its use, then of course they can be abused, or because when you don't know what you own, the value, I should say, when you don't understand the value of what you own, then you're more likely to allow other folk to abuse you. In the sense of, we had one landowner, she and her family owned 300 plus acres, which is, that's not the norm, but just giving you an example, she and her family owned 300 plus acres, and they had one timber buyer come and offer them $45,000 to cut it, and another came within that week and offered her $90,000. But after she connected with us, and because we had foresters on staff, and we connected her with some professionals, that family ultimately was offered $250,000 for their timber.
Wow.
So as she did not know to ask a question, then the most she may have gotten for that land was $90,000. And doesn't take a rocket scientist, but there's a big difference between $90,000 and $250,000.
So what we're really telling the public, before you do anything with your land, consult someone.
Yes. And consult the Center, specifically, we're saying consult the Center for Heirs Property Preservation in the sense of if you need to resolve your heirs property issues, we have attorneys on staff. We also have a satellite office in Orangeburg, so people don't have to just travel to Charleston for assistance. And we also see people in Beaufort and in Georgetown. And then our foresters, and we have a team of foresters on staff, they will come to you and actually look at your property to give you some advice. But if you don't know that we exist and what we do, then of course you're not going to seek us out for assistance.
Okay, so you all come out and do workshops.
Yes, we do workshops in the community. We also do educational seminars. And I know you're a pastor, and so we would be delighted to do an educational workshop, and basically that's a legal seminar where an attorney on our staff comes out and they talk to the community about what it means to own heirs property, because not many folk know what it means. They think, because I'm paying the taxes, it belongs solely to them, and that's not true. It just means that they're the more responsible family member,
come on.
But it belongs to the family in whole, not to them. And so our attorneys are basically helping them understand what the laws are and the importance of having a will.
Now, I think you need to repeat that one again.
Okay.
Just because you're paying the taxes,
Right.
it does not make you the sole owner of the property.
That is correct. And a lot of disagreements about the land occur over that issue because people who live on the land, of course, they're maintaining it, and they're maintaining it in the sense of paying the property taxes. And so those who don't live on the property, even though they may be asked to contribute, they may not contribute. And so that becomes a bone of contention when you're trying to resolve the issue.
Okay, so a website where they can go to get information.
It is www.heirsproperty.org.
Say that again?
www.heirs, that's HEIRS, property.org.
Okay, now, thank you for that. We're going to a break.
Okay.
And then when we come back, we're going to talk about the screening, the sneak preview of the locally filmed America's Forest with Chuck Lavelle. We're going to do all of that right after this break. Okay, welcome back to Bounce Around Charleston. Man, we're learning a lot today about Heirs property. But in this segment, it's going to be a little lighter. We're going to talk about the screening and sneak preview of the locally filmed America's Forest with Chuck Lavelle. Tell us all about it.
So, as I was saying earlier, Reverend Miller, I think the primary service that we offer to the community is education, because people need to be informed. And so with this taping that occurred here with Chuck Lavelle, it actually gives you an opportunity to see the work in action and what you need to do to make it happen. So several of our landowners will be on that premiere, and they'll be walking on their property, sharing with you some of the things that they've done, also with their grandchildren. Some of them brought their grandchildren with them because remember, it is about not just the people who are currently living, but it's also about their heirs. You want your future generations should benefit from your property, not just those people who live on it now.
What about a panel discussion?
So at the, we'll watch the premiere first, and we will be at the Charleston Music Hall, and the event will start at 7 o'clock p.m. We'll watch the premiere, which is about 20-30 minutes, and then there will be a panel discussion of the landowners and myself who were in the premiere, so that the audience may ask them questions and just learn a little more about their experiences in owning land. And also, one of those landowners, they had heirs property, and how they resolved it and how we assisted them with that process. So yes, it's going to be I call it edutainment, combination of education and entertainment. So edutainment, that's what it is.
We need this type of education.
That is correct.
Because there are family members who are not speaking to one another today because of situations like this.
That's correct. And from our experience at the Center for Heirs Property Preservation, if there is a disagreement about the use of the land and how to resolve the title, 9 times out of 10, it has nothing to do with the land. It has to do with a family dynamic that was never addressed. And we know that if you don't address that issue, you're not going to talk about the land.
No, you won't.
So that is one of these services that we provide. Family presentation. So people are coming and they're sitting around the table and literally putting their dirty laundry out to resolve any of those issues. So that process is not on the Chuck Lavelle show, but just giving you a little, as you said, it's about families are torn because of not understanding what it means to own property jointly.
I thank you today for coming, Dr. Jenny L. Stevens, and sharing with us about heirs property and about the sneak preview of the American Forest with Chuck Lavelle. And that's happening Monday, January 27th, 7 to 8:30 p.m. at the Charleston Music Hall downtown. And it's free.
Yes, it is.
It's free. And there will be a panel discussion with some of the people in the movie, along with Dr. Stevens, and you'll be able to ask questions. Like I said, it's free. And for more information, visit lavellepremiere.eventbrite.com.
Yes. Thank you again for having me, Reverend Miller.
Oh, we're so happy that you're here today with all that valuable information. Okay, stay tuned. We'll be right back after this break.